They are still playing high school football in Texas. The number 2 ranked team in the country, North Shore, advancing to the 6A semis, setting up a top 10 showdown with 10th ranked Austin Westlake. Both teams winning in blowout fashion in the quarterfinals. Both teams entering the semis unbeaten. Going to check in on the brand new Max Preps top 5. Number 1 stays the same. IMG Academy, they're done. They're 8-0. They're number 1. There you have North Shore at number 2, followed by Grayson out of Georgia, number 3, winning the 7A state championship. A newcomer in the top 5 as well at number 5. Duncanville, Texas. They are also in the 6A semis in the Lone Star State. Let's welcome in our fellas from Max Prep, Zack Poff and Steve Montoya. And this Saturday's 6A semis in Texas, obviously loaded. 3 of the 4 remaining teams in your top 10 in the nation. Zack, let's start with number 2, North Shore, facing number 10, Austin Westlake. We know that is the home of Drew Brees.
Yeah, man, and it's also the home of Demetrius Davis, man. This is a dude who is as good as any quarterback in Texas high school football history. We're going to check out the numbers here in a little bit, but going back to last week, he put up 5 total touchdowns, giving him 58 on the season. He's thrown for over 3,000 yards, is nearing the 1,000-yard mark on the ground. And, you just look at North Shore, though. It's more than Demetrius Davis. You got Shadrach Banks at wide receiver. This is a dude who's putting on his senior season. Missed a lot of his junior year because of an injury, but he's showing why he's a 4-star and one of the best wide receivers in Texas. The defense is balling out, but they're going to face a huge test. Austin Westlake, they've won 22 straight games. They won the 6A Division II state championship last year. Todd Dodge, just an absolute legend, head coach for Austin Westlake. So this is going to be a fun game, man. Westlake's got a big-time defense. They got this cat, Jaden Greathouse, at wide receiver, one of the best in the class of 2023. Cade Klubnak at quarterback. He's a stud, too. So this is going to be a fun game. And, North Shore's trying to prove they're not just the number 2 team in the country, but number 1. So if they get a statement win against Austin Westlake, that'll go a long way.
Yeah, they still have games to play, and IMG Academy number 1 does not. So, Steve, we heard Zack talk briefly about Demetrius Davis. What kind of comparison do you have for him?
Yeah, like Zack said, you have to put him up there with one of the best all-time high school quarterbacks to come from the state of Texas, and I get it. We're talking about guys like Drew Brees, Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, but when you're looking at just pure high school statistics, Davis is up there. I mean, the Auburn signee is the real deal, and like Zack said, 58 total touchdowns. You can see the comparison here to Kyler Murray. It's hard to dethrone Kyler Murray. You can see his numbers and what he did at the high school level, but Davis is right there, and if he finishes out this season with another state title for North Shore, man, it's hard to argue that Davis is not one of those quarterbacks from the state of Texas that is just unreal.
And if they do win a state championship, maybe they take over that number 1 spot. But one of the reasons that IMG Academy has been able to hold on to that top spot is that win they had over a team now in the top 5, number 5 Duncanville, a team that Zack has been absolutely dominant since that loss.
Yeah, man. This defense, man, you just turn on the tape. You're just like, wow, these dudes are just smacking guys. And it all starts with, a dude going to Alabama, Kendrick Blackshire at middle linebacker. This dude flies around and makes plays. I mean, this guy he had offers before he even played high school football. But Duncanville's a lot more than obviously just Kendrick Blackshire. You look at the offense, Grayson James is playing his best football right now. He threw for nearly 500 yards and 3 touchdowns in last week's dominant 56-28 dub against a loaded DeSoto squad. So, what Duncanville's doing right now, they're clicking. They're playing at their best right now. And, they played IMG. It was their second game of the season. So they really weren't as crisp as they are right now. Even though I do believe that they played IMG again right now, I still would take IMG in that game. But, they got Southlake Carroll coming up. We were talking about some of the best quarterbacks from Texas. Southlake Carroll's got one in Quinn Ewers. He's the number 1 overall recruit in the class of 2022. And all he did last week, he completed 35 of 39 passes for 450 yards and only 6 touchdowns.
Star-studded Final Four there in the 6A Texas State Championship. Steve, some really interesting storylines emerging as well as we kind of project forward to what we might see in the championship game. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it starts with North Shore and Duncanville. I know we don't want to look too far ahead because, as we've said, there's some good matchups going on this week, but that would be a third time in a row that they play in the state finals. I saw a good tweet last night that the state of Texas high school football has outlasted the NFL. So that alone right there is pretty interesting. You got Texas high school football, no Texas NFL teams left. So you got some big time matchups that we could see in a few weeks at the state title games, but both North Shore and Duncanville in the top 5 could play again in the state championship.
All right, let's move to Georgia and number 3 Grayson winning the 7A state championship. Steve, tell us about their quarterback. It's kind of been a wild journey, a journey really that you would only see in the year 2020.
Yeah, absolutely. You nailed it right there. And Jake Garcia, the Miami commit, once a USC commit, he is from California. He wanted to play his senior year. There's still doubt in the state of California that there will be high school football in the spring. So he transferred out to Valdosta, Georgia, and he was ruled ineligible. And then right there, he thought his high school football career was done, but then became eligible to play at Grayson, who happens to be one of the best teams in all of the country, as we've seen them win a state title and go undefeated. So he was able to finish out his high school career, and Grayson has a case. Their fans have a case to say, hey, we're the number 1 team in the country. Give us a chance to be the top spot, especially with Jake Garcia there. They scored over 38 points a game, allowed just 8 all year. Their defense is unreal. Just incredible what they've done. So I know, Zach, you hear it all the time. Grayson's up there, and they got a case to be number 1 right there with IMG and North Shore.
Yeah, Zach, tell us about that. I mean, they stay at number 3, so obviously you guys had those conversations about whether or not to elevate them to 2 or potentially 1. How do they compare to IMG?
First of all, man, DM me about it. It's not going to move a team up in the rankings. My DMs be blowing up about who should be ranked number 1. You know, listen, Grayson's a great team, and I think they could compete with IMG. Same with North Shore. But, you know, you just look at this IMG Academy team as a whole. This is the best IMG team I've ever seen. And, you know, that 2016 team had some studs. They had Kellen Mon, Dylan Moses, and Grant Delpit. And this 2020 IMG team is better than that one. And, you know, they started the year at number 1. They've won every game in dominant fashion. I really do believe this is the one year I wish we did have a high school football playoff so we could see the IMGs, North Shore, Duncanville, St. Joseph's Prep, and obviously Grayson all battle it out to see who is number 1. But it's going to be hard to jump past IMG Academy. But, you know, Grayson, I don't think they're going to be able to have a chance to do it. But North Shore is one team that could if they get a statement win against Austin Westlake. And then if Duncanville beats Southlake Carroll, if they get a dominant win against Duncanville like IMG did, they are the one school that's still got a chance to maybe jump past IMG, but it's going to be very tough.
Yeah, some great games still ahead as they head into the Final Four there in Texas. Zack Poff and Steve Montoya from Max Preps breaking it down for us here. You can find the entire top 25 on Max Preps right now. We got some top 25 teams in action, not just some, but many, all of them coming from the state of Texas, and most of them in Class 6A. Really the standout in 5A, that Denton Ryan team, ranked number 9 in the nation, playing Mansfield Summit in those semis.